Joining Muhammad at the 1999 Pro Bowl was tight end Wesley Walls, a regular at the end-of-season All-Star game. As the NFC's most productive tight end for the last 5 seasons, Walls outdid himself once again in '99, logging 63 receptions for 822 yards and 12 touchdowns.
He drops, steps up, fires, touchdown, Wesley Walls!
Whose strength and skill begins up front with tight end Brent Jones. Number 84's pass-catching ability is surpassed only by his consistency, toughness, and determination to go where many receivers fear to tread, over the middle. Jones' 68 receptions set a 49ers standard for catches by a tight end and earned him his second straight selection to the Pro Bowl.
I remember talking to Ozzie, and he's like, "You're not too happy right now, are you?" I was like, "I'm a little pissed off." He said, "Good, keep that."
So is that a chip I see on your shoulder?
I have a little bit of chip, yeah.
That chip has fueled Andrews into becoming one of the league's elite. In 2021, he led all tight ends in yards, catches, and touchdowns, then was named first-team All-Pro.
But the man most deserving of praise was Denver's leading receiver, All-Pro tight end Riley Odoms. At 6'4" and 230, number 88 has the size and pass-catching ability to cause pandemonium in any defensive backfield. Number 88 finished the season as the top pass-catching tight end in the National Football League. And for the second time in but 3 years of play, Riley Odoms was awarded All-AFC status.
He was a tough guy, and he would fit in, perfectly because he really didn't have a whole lot to say. He was serious about playing the game, and he was just a tough SOB.
I think when someone thinks of Mark Bavaro, that's what they would remember. Toughness and physicality, and giant blue guy.
I tell you, he's a stone face, that Bavaro now. You know what the hell he's thinking. I'd hate to have to fight that son of a gun.
That's one tough, talented football player right there.
Pete Retzlaff, a lean, gaunt perfectionist, in his 10th year recorded his finest statistics. Isolated but not alone, the Baron pulls in one of his 66 receptions and roars downfield, teaching an Aaron Erich Barnes a lesson in chivalry. Against Cleveland, Pete courses through a meticulous pattern which culminates in a good evasive move and a touchdown for Philadelphia.
The prolific rookie possesses outstanding physical attributes, as pointed out by Eagles offensive coordinator Ted Plum.
He's a guy that's 6'2" and around 250, runs under a 4.7 40. He is really not playing like a rookie. His ability is really outstanding in an instinctive kind of way.
I have the speed of a running back, the hands of a wide receiver, and then I have the size of a tight end. You take those three combined and running routes at the same time.
And there was big number 88, All-Pro tight end Charlie Sanders. In only 3 years, Charlie Sanders has become the best in the business, the standard by which all will be measured in the future. Why? Watch. Like Greg Landry, Charlie Sanders' style reflected his never-quit attitude.
From 1965 to 1977, Jerry Smith was a tight end for the Washington Redskins. He was one of the best in his era, making 2 Pro Bowls. He played in a Super Bowl, and when he retired, Smith had more touchdown receptions than any other tight end in NFL history.
He's a weapon, they use him in unique ways. He is a matchup problem, It's one of those things that he's a big body for a corner, and he's athletic for a safety to guard.
You got Olsen locked up on the safety. Wow!
He can run routes like a receiver. He does it all. He has great hands. You see.
Tight end Ben Coates was selected by the Patriots in the 5th round out of Livingstone College in 1991. Over the next 9 seasons, he was one of the most dominant tight ends in the National Football League. Coates enters the 2008 season ranked 2nd in team history with 50 touchdown receptions and 3rd all-time with 490 career catches.
He didn't catch a pass in his first 2 seasons with the Raiders, but eventually the man with the gift of gab developed a gift of grab.
He makes a one-handed catch. Magnificent.
On a scale of 1 to 10, his natural physical gifts were probably a 5. On a scale of 1 to 10, what he got out of his physical gifts, it would have to be a 9.5.
He's a mismatch.
Whenever they try to put a corner on him, he's usually too small. They put a linebacker on him, he's usually too slow. A safety is too small and too slow.
He's like 6'7", that's a disadvantaged place to play basketball.
He's a basketball player that plays football.
You just throw it near him, he's going to catch it, and his wingspan's tremendous.
This kid was sensational getting off the line of scrimmage. He was very good in contact down the field. He had good enough speed to beat some safeties, and he had wide receiver hands. He was built like a 70s power forward in college basketball. He had a big, long stride.
Kittle is the best tight end in the league, folks. Why? Because he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the history of the game.
He almost took B.J. Goodson out of bounds.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You got to bring your lunchbox with him. Most tight ends don't do that. Like, can sustain a block on the D end. It's just not a chip block.
He's just a savage. He never goes down on the first hit.
What can you say about George Kittle and his toughness and his mindset? That is unbelievable. Basically threw him to the ground, ran right by him, and punches it in for 6 points.
This is epic, tough guy stuff.
When tight ends were supposed to be an afterthought, suddenly Dave Casper was a weapon.
A clutch tight end, and particularly a game against Baltimore.
Ghost to the post. I just like saying ghost to the post.
Deep to Casper. Casper makes it over the shoulder catch.
The guy was remarkable.
A very remarkable adjustment as Casper managed to run under that high lob.
It was always there when Ken Stabler needed him most.
He set the standard on how to play tight end in the NFL. He changed the position to an offensive weapon in an era when tight ends rarely caught the football. Jackie had 20 or more receptions in each of his first 12 years in the league. In the 1967 season, he caught 56 passes and averaged over 21 yards a catch. He was as tough as they come. In addition to being a talented receiver, Smith was a punishing blocker. Fierce could have been his middle name. Trying to tackle Smith was like trying to stop a truck.
He also ran very successful end-arounds. He averaged a whopping 13.6 yards.
I think a lot of people forget that he was actually like a stud tight end in the league. If you watch old highlights of Ditka, it's awesome. He's just this like beast of a man. He was essentially Gronk before Gronk.
He looks like an axe murderer. Have you seen a picture of the man when he was a player? He has a crew cut.
Guy still wear a crew cut. That's how tough he was.
He won a Super Bowl as a coach, but even more accolades as a player.
Unfortunately, he's too good. He is too good. Jason Witten's probably a guy that could play in both eras. He's athletic for this era, but he's big and strong for another area.
Banging through the traffic like a runaway truck.
I love Jason Witten. Receiver.
Touchdown, Jason Witten.
Blocker. Just such an underrated, quiet. I think Shannon Sharp may be a little too low on this list.
Wide open, Shannon Sharp.
He was the first tight end to play like a wide receiver.
Statistically,
Mercy, is anybody going to cover him?
emotionally,
Right here tonight, baby.
a guy with, 3 Super Bowl rings?
Heavyweight champion of the world.
There's a short list of guys who were as good as Shannon Sharp at the tight end position.
Shannon Sharp played 14 seasons with the Broncos and Ravens and broke Newsom's all-time tight end records for receptions and yards.
Sharp, a 32-yard pickup.
While winning. Antonio Gates has been money in the bank since he entered the NFL in 2003.
He's a freak of nature. He's a great athlete.
Because of his basketball background, is he has that explosive first step.
Antonio Gates was the guy who changed it and made people start going out there and drafting guys from small schools who were good at basketball. Gates changed the way that we look at tight ends.
Kellen Winslow, the early prototype of what a tight end could be.
We had never seen anything like it. We had never seen a team where the tight end was getting 1,000 yards.
Kellen Winslow was the first guy to blend the lines between wide receiver and tight end, who really kind of changed the shape of position, was the tight end of the future back in the 1970s.
He was the first real athlete.
At 6'5", he's an inviting and talented target.
Teams start looking at big, fast tight ends that could be the #1 receiver.
This Hall of Famer is perhaps the most punishing runner after the catch of all time and helped change his position forever.
I think that John Mackey, he defined it, actually. He could catch the pass and take it all the way. 80 yards, 90 yards. He could do that.
Pretty fast for a guy that weighed about 230 pounds. Mackey could run like 4.5.
Mackey was, to me, the first guy who became a seam ripper. Mackey was really the first tight end who could rip a defense in half.
Few athletes have truly revolutionized their positions.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic tight end.
Mackey, after he got his hands on the football, he was tough to bring down.
His greatness was his ability to run after the catch. He ran like a fullback.
He had the ability to make it.
He's a guy that combines his athleticism and his IQ. He's a great player.
He's the best tight end in the NFL. I just don't know that there's been a guy that's that good as a pass catcher at that position that I've ever seen. He's a tremendous player.
Kelsey, touchdown!
Sometimes it's hard to even tell what he's doing on film. It's like the way he can set up defenders and just keep guys guessing when they're in front of him. He's taking that to the next level.
Gronk is already a top 3 tight end in NFL history just because of his production in the red zone.
Just not a fair fight. No.
Just production-wise, over a short period of time, nobody else has even come close. This is a guy who's Ruthian in his production.
Jump, Beast Mode!
If any team wants a tight end and they could fill out a form and order one, they're not ordering Mike Ditka. They're not ordering John Mackey. They're ordering a Rob Gronkowski. 32 teams out of 32 teams are ordering a Rob Gronkowski.
One of those every once in a
One tight end of all time, Tony Gonzalez.
If we're talking best tight ends of all time and you don't mention Tony Gonzalez, get out of the room.
In his 17 seasons with the Chiefs and Falcons, Gonzalez became the all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns by a tight end.
The best tight end in the NFL.
He has to be #1. Everybody gets mad if you say future first ballot Hall of Famer. That's the guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. When you look at the numbers, his numbers compare favorably with great wideouts.
Athletically terrific.
Phenomenal athlete.
Just an athletic freak.
Gonzalez's athleticism was honed not on the gridiron, but on the hardwood.